Oh, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Interesting Modelling Company Sunday car service. We're doing a car service tonight because Ian was desperately keen to do a car service. And also Drew's off gigging tonight. So can you hear me, Ian?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Yeah, jolly good, jolly good. We had a few technical grumblies tonight, but anyway, Ian, good Lord, it was a week ago. We were all at Telford. Where does the time go, eh?
Yeah, I'm going to call this an interim service rather than a major service. I think that's most appropriate.
Good, yeah.
It came, it went, and I missed 90% of the show, seemingly. A load of people who I should have spoken to and stuff I should have seen, and still had a bloody fabulous time.
Language.
Sorry, Timothy.
That's all right.
My apologies, but it's true.
Okay.
You know, you go and you think that you've done a load of stuff, and then later on you start looking at the pictures and thinking, where was that? Because I never saw that. You know,
I've got to say, we were so busy on the hobby company stand doing the demos over the weekend. Apart from making a break for the lavs, that was it. I really didn't see that much of the show. It's because we started Saturday morning, and you kind of like you get into the rhythm of doing your demos, and before you know it, it's 5 o'clock and we will go home.
Yeah.
It just like that. I mean, I didn't get the chance. The people I didn't get the chance to speak to, I didn't get the chance to pop over and say hello to everybody on the Hornby stand, on the Airfix stand rather. There were traders that I was hoping to pick up some bits and pieces from. That didn't happen. It honestly, you on the drive up, Drew and I, we do tend to have this conversation of kind of, oh, look, blimey, how are we gonna fill the time out? 2 whole days, and that's it. It goes absolutely in a flash.
Yeah, I mean the issue remains that no matter what you do, you are never going to see everything.
No,
I was talking about this on Sunday and Monday. I go back to the days with the IPMS UK National Championships. I go back to the days of Stoneleigh, and possibly I'm a feeling I might have done one at Hendon before that, but my dad told me a long time ago. And come Saturday evening, you'd kind of seen most of what was on the tables because it wasn't that big an area. You look at the amount of floor area and the sheer levels of content, be it club displays, SIG displays, traders, the competition area. You could devote. We'll put my teeth in and try again. You could probably devote half a day just to walking around that competition area, and you'd spend most of it in the queue to get in. But from a practical point of view, it isn't a 2-day show, but it has to be. There's been a conversation amongst myself and a few other guys about, how would you make it any longer than 2 days? And it just doesn't work,
No.
I know the US National, I think Mike commented the other day, didn't he, that the US National sort of start Wednesday and finish Sunday. Yeah, don't know that we could do it, and it would be hellishly expensive to do it over here.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing. The other thing to bear in mind is that our IPMS Nationals, it's all volunteer run, for goodness sake. I mean, this is people giving of their time to give us a model show, and where would they find the time if they've got day jobs? Where would they find the time to take that time off to do the organising?
I mean, obviously Richard Middleton, who's the exhibition manager, he's a really good friend of mine, and I was talking to him. He was on site on Thursday. So if you wanted to make it longer, you'd basically have people on site for a week, and no one in their right mind, although we are modelers, so the phrase "right mind" doesn't always apply, is going to devote a week of their holiday.
Yep.
That's no problem. There's a couple of comments just come up. Can I
say Craig says the Wednesday Saturday US thing brings in a whole bunch of other challenges.
I'd heard. I've had conversations with people about it over the last however long, and I was looking just saying. Sarah Jane just asked a question. Sarah Jane, you talk about the additional decals. I'm presuming you're meaning this. I'll come back to that in a minute. I've got some information for that.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm just scrolls up actually.
When I do that, I might need to scurry to the stash.
I saw Sarah Jane's comment
quite early on, actually.
It's. I do wish StreamYard would give you a method of being able to kind of like tag posts. So
you can, I believe.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's weird. It's StreamYard. It has odd functionality, doesn't it? But there you go. Because I can't mark one for you to see.
No,
which is interesting.
I found it. Yeah, Sarah Jane. She says, Ian, I started that bike not long ago with the extra decals for it, which aren't included. So that's the bike behind you, is it? Yeah. Right. I'll talk about it in a second. Right. Where should we go next, Ian? Should we talk workbench or
workbench? I finished something.
You'd have.
I finished something which was originally intended actually to be at Scale Model World. It was intended for the car and motorcycle SIGs table. I finished a Revel Camaro, which I believe I've given you some pictures of. But
you have. I'm just going to our group chat to go and find them.
So while you do that, I'll show it on the camera. How about that?
Yep.
So this is the Revel 69 Camaro. It's quite an older kit now.
When you say older, what are we talking about in terms of time frames?
I've got the feeling it's late 80s,
right?
Early 90s. It's a 69. It's come out in a number of forms. This is one of the Revel Germany boxings. The decals are absolute garbage, I'm afraid to say, which is a real shame because the decals for the seats were quite important to the look. It spent a lot of time removing raised badges and things and making them not show up, so I could put Photo Etch ones on better, which are model car garage scripts. They look quite nice, and the Z28 on the hood. Should be some on the rest of it. Well, I've gone with the minimal scripts just because I like that look. Nice little kit, actually. There are issues. Typically for Revel, and this follows on from the Lancia of last week. I'm not entirely sure how you're supposed to physically get the interior into the chassis and the interior into the body if you build it all up. This front, there's bits of this front roll pan and the rear roll pan which are separate to the model, and I think the idea is you don't put them on until after you've put the chassis in. However, the fit of them to the main body is so thoroughly appalling that you really do have to do the remedial work first. So large parts of the chassis have been cut away to enable it to fit. And having built the engine, was really pleased with the engine. The hood doesn't close over anyway, so that's been butchered. So, yeah. Anyway, but it looks nice. It's a proper 6-footer. got a decent shine on that paintwork. I'm quite pleased
I
with
was
that.
just going to say walk us through how you got that finish, and I'm just going to bring up your
This is quite an age-old. This is my age-old process. So that is 2 or 3 coats of Tamiya Rattle Can. I'm really having problems with my teeth today.
Yeah.
Rattle Can primer, grey, sanded back, polished with Trizact, etc. And then there's a couple of coats. This is Gunze GX paint again. I do like it. That's the blood red metallic. And then it's had a couple of coats of that, and then 2 or 3 coats from a Rattle Can of the UV cut, which is my kind of go-to color. UV goes clear late. I love it. I'm really pleased with the model. It's gone to, in the end, it went together quite nice. It's running on the original factory steels caps. So, yeah.
How do you do the trim on the wheels? The chrome
It's
trim
all
on the wheels?
right. What the trim around the arches?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's SMS Hyperchrome masked, hand masked. All the trim on the body and the bumpers, front and rear, and the window surrounds is SMS's Hyperchrome over SMS's Premium Gloss Black. Which, because I've used this kind of as a bit of a practice piece for using that. I'm quite impressed with it. It isn't quite as durable as I hoped. It's not as bad as things like Alclad and the Molotov, but it is. What I did do is I sealed it with sort of coat of this, which I've been given to test, which is E7 Models Chrome Sealer. And that, on the bumpers in particular, that has kept the shine on the bumpers nice. So I'm still playing with that. That's one of my. I do these things. I'll get something like that and I'll play with it. And if I don't like it, it goes in the bin. And if I do like it, I'll carry it through. And this is the thing. There's always product coming through, particularly for the things like lots and lots of people coming out with lots of different gloss coats, model gloss coats. I noticed, and a couple of people are now doing different versions of 2-packs and pre-mixes and clears and all sorts of stuff. There's the one that you tried. The Halfords and the Rattle Cans are coming back again. They're all out there and they're all to try, but on my fallback seems to always be GX112, and which is basically the UV cut Rattle Can stuff in a jar or from a can. I just like it. It fits my system, fits my process. I get a decent shine. You can't argue with that. It's got shine on it. So, and it's a constant development. I will not tell you that I am the best modeler in the world. I sat in that. Actually, I put a couple in the competition at Telford this year. And I had a couple of decent results, and I was quite pleased with that. The green one with the shadow flames in it got a bronze in the custom car class. But when I look at some of the other stuff on the table, particularly in the 12 scale class, I posted some pictures of the Aston Martin that won best car, best car, online, and so that was simply one of the best car finishes I think I've seen in a very, very long time, and I would aspire myself to be at that level. That mod, and some do like the guy that posts, well, it's an £800 kit. What do you expect? Well, it doesn't matter. I could paint it with a yard brush; it'd still be an £800 kit, and it'd be rubbish. But the quality of the execution of that model was stunning. Sorry, I've just put a fingerprint on my glasses, which is why I'm now squinting.
Just to say, Mike Williams, he says, I believe Revell vehicle decals are printed by Edward these days. I had trouble with the ones in their Stranger Things series I built. I found they were nicely printed, but far too thin and wanted to wrinkle and wrap over themselves all the time.
The problem with those ones, Mike, was they were at least 20 years old. So it was a little bit like trying to decal with lino. So they were from the printed in Italy by someone who wasn't cartograph era of Revel decals, and I was not happy with them. They were matte finish as well. Just no.
UK Modeler says, I picked up the Lancia and the 205 GTI, which we're going to come to in a minute, at Telford, but also an impulse buy of an E-Type XKSS dual boxing.
So that's the classic XKSS kit with the new tool E-Type in a box. I saw that and was quite intrigued because I know Richard, the aforementioned Richard Middleton, has converted that XKSS into one of the race cars. But
what kit is this?
It's a Revel. It's a double. It's a kit. It's a box with two kits in it. So you get the new tool E-Type, and you get their classic XKSS, which has to be 50 years old if it's a day. But there ain't going to be another one, and I very much doubt we'll get a new tool one from anyone else. So, but it's a nice model if you build it right. So, yeah. Projects wise.
Jim's got a question. He says, Jonathan Mock, did you do some reorganization to your inventory on the shelves behind you? I did. I have gone absolutely mad for these little clear plastic trays. I think I got them off of Temu, but they are absolutely perfect for. You can get 8 bottles of Gunzi or Mr. Colour or Tamir in there, and absolutely perfect. And I can put everything in sequence. I got all my Valio in there, Model Air in there, just brilliant. It's working a treat. It took a little bit of getting used to, because I'd be forever used to kind of reaching around and grabbing stuff that was loose on the shelves, and I'd have to pick up a box and get used to where everything was in sequence. But honestly, it's such a better system. So sorry, Ian, I interrupted you.
No, you're right. I was going to, while you were doing that, I scurried off to do the thing that I wanted to do to cover the thing. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. So from project's point of view, there's some pictures going up on the web, on my website, linked to the Interesting Modelling Companies group shortly. This, which we were given by BMAX at the weekend, by Hobbyco at the weekend, to build. I'm building it straight from the box with no extras in it. Sarah Jane asked about the decals. If you get this, Sarah Jane, which is the manufacturer's upgrade set, the naughty decals are in there.
When we say naughty decals, what are we talking about? Sponsorships or
sponsorships?
Right. Cancerous sponsorships?
Well, allegedly, yes.
Right. Okay. There's nothing allegedly about it.
No. Yeah. Genuinely. Obviously, you can't legally. You can't produce a product with that in. However, I have to say, Italeri reissued the Pro Car BMW M1 Pro Car last year as Niki Lauda's car from the Race of Champions event, and that had the Marlboro decals in it. That little box has got the Lucky Strikes in it, which are missing from the box. So obviously they're crossing markets where you can't quite get away with it by having Team Suzuki on this, which is legitimate. It's on the scheme in various marketplaces in ERA. But obviously, if you want to portray it with the Lucky Strikes,
in fact,
you also get some beautifully made turned forks and a nice photo etch set for all the grills and radiator bits, Sarah Jane, worth every penny. I'm not entirely sure if that's in the UK yet.
I've just gone on to the Italeri website, and here we have BMW M1 Pro Car. And there is the decal sheet, and let's zoom in. There are the Marlboro logos there, but you'll notice that there doesn't appear to be any kind of like lettering on it. Now, is that on the actual vehicle? Am I like that, or is that been kind of like slightly censored for the kit decal sheet?
Kit decal sheet.
Right. Okay. So it's not strictly accurate then.
No. The
No.
kit deco sheet is absolutely accurate. That artwork you're looking at there has been doctored.
Right.
'Cause
So
this
it's the real
this is the
vehicle.
kit deco sheet, and it very clearly has Marlboro all over it, and the real car did too.
Right. Okay. That's sorry, Ian. Hold that up again. I'm with you. Yep. I can see it.
Because the other thing is, of course, if you really want, you could build the JPS sponsored one that ran in the same race, which is hand stuck. Has raced in the Malaysian Grand Prix as well. That one. So, yeah, this is the thing. There are a lot of manufacturers out there making. Hey, he says, tidying up behind him, making aftermarket decal sheets where they're putting things like your Marlboros and your Lucky Strikes in them, and they're doing it so they're split decals, so you can get away with it. I'm not going to argue. You know, I have a real issue around the censorship of history. It leads down lanes. It leads down routes and lanes which we do not wish to go down, like people that say things didn't happen. And unfortunately, and Sarah James pointing out that the kit's very Fujimi-esque and very fiddly. It's there's in some instances there are more than one part where you only needed one. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Absolutely, it's a lovely thing though. The fit of some of the components. I've got the rear combing made up. Let me just show you that. That is 3 parts. So there's a join line running up there, and then this piece is sat in the back. There is no gaps or seams around the edges of that at all. Needs a little bit of a sand just to remove the residue of the glue, but
is that the raw plastic?
That's raw plastic.
Good Lord, that's shiny.
It's lovely, isn't it? This is the lower combing, so that's split again. You can see it split there. Now there is a slight misalignment there, which actually is me, but this front insert is really good. The whole thing's really nice. I'm only at that point. So yeah, I've got 2 of them. One which Andy gave me on Sunday, which is getting built straight, and another one of mine which has got an enormous amount of 3D printed and aftermarket extras in it. Because why not?
Well, my project at the show at the weekend was the Tamiya Super Leggera Ducati, which is my first venture into racing bikes. Oh my goodness me, it's an education. But well, it's an education in as much as you are going through the construction sequence and you are having to stop and then go, right, I can't do any more there because I need to paint that. But I have to say, Ian, this is what I enjoy about jumping genres and building stuff that I'm not entirely familiar with, is it feels like a new hobby. It kind of reminds me of what it was like when I was a kid and I was learning how to make models. And I can build aircraft and tanks in my sleep. And some people would say it looks like you do, JM. But when I'm doing these, I'm actually having to stop and kind of like relearn the model making process. And that is fabulous. It's such a lovely feeling to be building something where you feel you're on a learning curve again. So right, shall we get on with the news, because we're at the halfway point already, Ian. Let's get on with the news. I have we've flabbed that out a bit, didn't we? Right, here we go. So courtesy of our friends in Hella and Glow 2B, their distributors, we have got their new Peugeot 205 GTI. Now this will be heading to you, Ian, so I've taken stuff out of the box and photographed it, but I will be boxing this up and sending this to you this week. So first of all, when you open the box up, you are these days you are greeted with some hella goodies. So there is a keep out model building in progress sign for your door, or come in, let me show you my models. The other thing is Hella mostly do away with plastic bags, and everything's packaged in black paper like this. Not quite, because the next kit we're coming to does still have plastic bags, but this I find quite, I don't know what you feel about it, but I quite like this.
I'm told that there's been some changes in French legislation around the use of single-use plastics in things like this. And that might reflect, because you think about it, the paper's recyclable.
Yes. Wow. So we'll just get the plastic bits out, and then we can talk about them in a bit more detail. So that's that. I know. Right.
Makes great television, that.
It does. Well, the funny thing is, would you believe, BBC are doing a new show with a model making bent on it.
Really?
Yeah, they are. I've hang about.
Why aren't we on it then?
I don't know about that, but I'm just going to our Facebook feed. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. The show is called it's called The Marvelous Miniatures Workshop, and it's going to be hosted by Sarah Cox. But it's okay. It's going to have a bit more of a kind of like a doll's house, and that kind of angle, but still model making. So
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Right, here we go. Bodywork for the Hella Peugeot 205. And there is a bit of slide moulding going on here, because I can see some very faint mould part lines, but nothing wrong with that. That's why we have wet and dry paper and Trizact. Very nicely done. Not quite Tamiya hard plastic, but not kind of soapy either. Then we've
I had one of these in my hands at the weekend. I felt very Far Eastern, the plastic in particular, rather than some of the European stuff. But I think you probably agree with me a bit there, don't
you? Here we have the sprue with some of the runner, sprue with some of the innards with the door. The eagle-eyed amongst you may notice that we have alternate dashboards here.
Left and right
hand drive. So
Ago is noticing this.
Yep. I was having this discussion with Tim Maunder yesterday when he rang up, and he was lamenting the fact that you can't build a right-hand drive, or didn't think you could build a right-hand drive version with this kit. Yes, you can. So there we go. So that's that sprue. Then we've got this sprue with the seats and the wheels and engine block, other bits and pieces. We'll come to the instruction sheet in a second.
What is a nice touch is, if you look, there are two steering columns. Because you can't just put the left-hand drive one in the right-hand side. You see by your fingers on your right hand.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's with a lot of cars, when they do a right-hand drive version, they literally just put the steering wheel mount and everything from the left-hand drive car on the right-hand side. For some reason, Peugeot didn't with the 205, so you actually have to have two, and Hella have represented that quite nicely as well.
Yep. It's very cleanly molded. There's little bits of tiny amounts of flash here and there, but nothing, nothing terrifyingly bad. Then we have this runner, which has got some of the details on it. There's some more. There's the windscreen wipers. So we've got windscreen wipers for left-hand, right-hand drive. Bits of the suspension there. Parts for the wheels. Yeah, lots of suspension parts there. And then finally, we've got the body pan. And again, rather sensibly, if we zoom into the footwell there, you can see it's generic. It's not been tailored for left or right hand drive. So you've got the bits which will just slot in here. So you've got the bits to do it for all markets. Some nice molded detail on the inside of the rear door there. And I tell you what I have noticed, Ian, is a distinct. He said a distinct lack of sink marks. Has a look at the seat there, the rear seat. But to be honest with you, you could probably get away with that and just say it's just depressions in the fabric. Bit of wear, yeah, exactly. So that's essentially the kit. Instructions, beautiful instruction sheet. Hella really are putting a lot of thought into this these days. Very nicely illustrated. You get full engine. So we'll just go through the construction sequence here. Blah blah blah. So we've got interior there. Then we get to the driver's compartment, and again, there we go. Good example. So we've got the foot pedals can be left hand or right hand drive, and then we've got the steering columns. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can do with this, Ian.
I am as well. It's a kit that we've been waiting for quite some time, and now it's here. Obviously, we know Hella have developed this relationship with Kinetic, I believe it is, isn't it? And that if this is the level of what we're going to see from them, I for one will be very, very happy, because Hella have always had a thing for doing the slightly more esoteric subject, as we'll see again in a minute. And if they've got this kind of quality behind them, none of us are going to be disappointed with what they kick out, are they?
No. And in fact, I'm just going to say, one of the bugbears of Hella in recent years has been their decal sheets. They pretty much have been universally atrocious. This is beautiful. This is absolutely stunning. Probably because it's not been done in-house by Hella. I think. Sorry, go on.
So I've had a couple of their recent reissues, these new yellow boxes, and they've come with some very, very nice decals. So they're obviously, because the decals historically with Hella were always the bone of contention, weren't they?
Yep. But yeah, these are absolutely beautiful. Also includes their the heated rear window element as well, which I think is very clever. It says apply inside, so one hopes that is going to be sufficiently clear not to fog up the rear window. But
there's an art to putting decals on clear.
There is, right? Okay.
When I get to that.
Yep. And then we've got essentially two schemes here. We've got left-hand drive, right-hand drive. We've got a red one and a white one. And it's a nice package, Ian, I've got to say.
Apparently, taped somewhere to the instructions is a little photo etch fret.
Is there?
Yeah, which is for the wing mirrors. I know someone's just pointed it out. Mark Hanna's just pointed it out. But I have seen them. It's only about 20 mil square.
I'm just having a look, make sure that hasn't up.
As if by magic. There you go. It's tiny. It is the tiniest little photo etch fret you've ever seen, isn't it? That's corking. But the fact that they've actually taken the time to tape it to the instructions, they're thinking. Someone's really thinking, and it's great.
There was me getting paranoid that I'd lost a piece, and no, there it is, taped to the inside. So I've got to say, Ian, I mean, I'm not a car expert, as you know, but in terms of an actual model making experience and looking at it as molded parts, essentially, Hella have up their game a bit.
Yeah. I mean, we know that's been an ongoing thing for a couple of years, because they're owned by a German company, is it now? That does educational toys, I believe. And so that that change has happened reasonably quickly, really. Actually, when you think about it, it's only a couple of years, and I think the other item that you've got there, the second item that came with that, and then the one we're going to talk about in a minute, are reflective of the direction they're intending to go in. Well, I think we've got 3 to talk about, haven't we? So
we have,
in addition
right.
to the Persia. The one thing about the Persia, there's been a few people being a little critical of the quality of the tyres. Apparently, they're a little bit hard. Mark Burgess, formerly Motorbits, I don't know whether he's still using that name, has done some 3D printed ones. I put a link to them in the Facebook group. There you go. And there they are. I know Mr. Fleming already says he has his.
He has. These are Dave's photographs. And Dave says that there are no attachment marks on them at all.
No.
Although I've got to say, Ian, that actually looking at these vinyl ones, I mean, they're as good as you can get with.
They are. I mean, they are probably decent. It's just, obviously the 3D printed ones. We'll see. I mean, I'll do a comparison, a compare and contrast. I think the rubber ones haven't got the manufacturer details on the side of them as well either.
Yep.
Yeah. So
there we go. I will say the other thing is with these Hella tires is that there's no honking great big seam line on them at all. So that's small victories, I would say.
We will do a proper compare and contrast when we get to it.
I will get this. I get this in the post to you this week. Hopefully tomorrow when I go. Oops, Daisy. Thank you for the photographs, Dave. Top man. But hopefully when I do my high street run tomorrow, I will. Now that we've got a post office, I know.
Wow.
I know. Now that we've got a post office, I better use it. Right. The part deux, literally part deux of tonight's Hella double bill. And it is this. It's a trailer for a trailer. This is a 3TO trailer. So as a lot of you will be aware, Hella do a lot of tractor kits, new tool tractor kits as well in 24th scale. So again, the Hella experience, which is open the box up. Yet again, all this marvelous black paper. Although, as I said, we've got stuff wrapped in black paper, but we've also got things in plastic bags. So it could be that that's just how they came out of the factory. So, and by the way, folks, we have uploaded photographs of all these to our Facebook feed, so it's all up there in full color glory. So now we just talked about plastic. I got to say, that's definitely a harder plastic. That's grey.
It's a 3-ton agricultural trailer. So
hence the 3TO.
I don't think anybody's ever, definitely not in 24 scale, to the best of my knowledge, kitted any of those.
No.
And so it's an impressive choice. They've done a couple of others. They've done so historically there's been a few. Obviously, AMT historically had trailers in their lineup. They weren't always the most accurate things in the world, but they were trailers. A few years back, Ayashima did a motorsports vehicle trailer, which was and is beautiful when it comes out, which is periodically, and it's rather lovely. So, but there was a definite opening in the market for a bit more of a range, and they've done some really nice ones. They've already had 2 or 3 out. I know Rich Middleton built one a couple of years back. I saw him at Brampton with it, and so they're diversifying what's available, which is cool.
I'm just on Scale Mates here, so there we go. So they've done a goods trailer.
That's I'm pretty sure that's going to be the same. That sprue you had in your hand there, that's probably most of what you've got in that sprue
Yeah.
there.
Oh, they'll be core. They'll be
Yeah,
doing the mini art. They'll be doing core bits and pieces. But so let's soldier on with what you get in the box here. So what I did find impressive about this, looking at the parts here, is there are no ejection pin marks on the actual part.
it's hilarious
Now,
taking a leaf out of that book.
well, I'm not gonna name any names, but I'm thinking of a certain Japanese giant kit company where yes, you're still getting ejection pin marks, in on key surfaces. This is very nice. It's absolutely beautiful, as you will see in our close-up photographs. So there's your flatbed. That's basically the flatbed section there. And then we have mud guards. Zooms in, zooms in. We've got the mud guards there, and we've got some other details as well. Again, absolutely no sign of any ejection pin marks on this. So how Hella are doing this? Very interesting. And then we've got this sprue, which has the wheel hubs and most of the framework and the suspension and a few other gubbins.
Is that two different A-frames, or is that a multi-part on that A-frame?
I will have a look at the instructions, and we will.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we'll come to the instructions in a second, and then we have that runner there with more of the bodywork, more of the chassis, and some wheel hubs and etc., etc. Then we have vinyl tires, but again, there's no kind of honking great big seam line down the middle. And I'm looking at you, Tamiya Tyrrell P34. That was an experience, but this is fair. Okay, that kit's older, but they're nicely done, Ian.
Yeah.
I know some people have an absolute aversion to vinyl tires, but oh yeah, by the way, folks, in case you're noticed, yes, I still do have my my trader's pass on there. It's the usual post Telford thing of seeing how many baths and showers I can have before it literally does fall off. So it's a hobby. And so we've got the instruction sheet here. So what were no, there we go, Ian.
It's 2 parts, right? Okay,
2 parts, yeah. But for a trailer, there's a lot going on here. It's quite involved. And yes, some nice little detail touches here, like the little bracket going into the side of the frame there. We got an addendum sheet. We've got again a very, very nice decal sheet. I never thought I'd use the words Hella and very nice decal sheet in the same sentence. There we go. That's
like the little arrows pointing at them. That's familiar.
Yes, we're doing something similar on the Airfix sheets as well now. So I do. I am gonna have to zoom in on this one because I love that number plate there, ERB P495.
Bit of cardboard, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. Haven't we all seen?
That is. You know when I saw that someone showed me that on a picture the other day, and I was like, that is someone who's actually aware of real life.
Yeah.
Because how many times have you followed a tractor or a trailer like that, and there's been a bit of cardboard wedged somewhere in it with the reg number written on it?
Yeah.
Usually with whatever they had to hand. And I just think that's a lovely touch. So good.
Yeah, that is. Do you know what? I actually fancy having a crack at this because being a trailer, it essentially means I can weather it. I can super weather it, and there we have some of the other Hella
Needs to go
tractors
behind
there.
the great boards. And that.
Built the Ferguson for my late friend Mr. Hamer a few years ago, which was well. I tell you what. Sorry, I went a bit Michael Caine there for a second. I'll tell you what. When I built that Hella Ferguson, 5 years ago, different Hella experience, because certainly the instruction sheets and the decals and everything were not to this quality.
Nope.
So that is a real. They've really elevated it quite nicely. So obviously you don't get any of the gubbins in the back there, but that's why we have Millipup. But gotta say, again,
isn't that sheep in the back of
isn't
that in that picture? Are they not sheep in the back of that?
No, they're bags. They're bags.
Oh, right, okay. You need mini art.
Yes.
They do all sorts of lovely things in 24 scale. You could stuff in the back of that.
There we go. There we go. You can see that. It's just bags.
I thought it was sheep because I hadn't looked that closely. So,
No, but yeah. So who would have thought? Who would have thought that we could get that animated and that excited over a trailer, and yet here we are. Like I say,
yeah, but the thing is, right? We're modelers, and we get it's the different subjects. In a lot of cases, it's the different subjects that make us go, "Ooh!" So like that Copper State armored car we talked about shows ago, whenever it was. There were four or five of us involved in that conversation. There were four very animated and amused and engaged people talking about that product. The 205 GTI you only had to walk around Telford and see how many of them were being looked at or stashed behind stands to understand that the thing is, it got our attention because it's different. It's not another Ferrari. It's not another whatever. It's a product that we all. I mean, I had a 205 at one point. Most guys of our age probably at some point or other either drove in or drove on one. Drove one, and so stuff like that. Yeah, Dave Fleming. Yeah, Arthur Williams trailers. Yeah. There'll be a huge market for Arthur Williams trailers. Yeah, because they're everywhere, aren't they?
And viewer Paul says, "Cool, I have the Ferguson, so I fancy that." Yeah, isn't that bizarre? We weren't expecting that to come, but that has really piqued my interest because, well, I will crack on with that once I get my my major project. I'm just checking the instruction sheet here to make sure there's no photo etch stuck inside it. Is because I want to get that out of the way. I don't want to get it out of the way. I want to get it completed. But we're talking about two different kind of modeling experiences here, because the Ducati is going to be concours and really neat, whereas that 3TO trailer is going to be tatty. It's going to have straw and sheep muck in it. So
UK Modelers asked me a question. Have I heard about the Golf GTI group build? Yes, and I was in the 2CV one. I did a Lancia Stratos 2CV cross match. So yeah, this can be quite cool. That car and motorcycle sig, Telford themes. So obviously, lots of SIGs and clubs do themes for their displays. We wanted to do a few years ago. We decided to do something different. So you took a 2CV and you did with it whatever you want. So mine was mated with an Eschi Italeri Lancia Stratos to make the 2C Vios in Alitalia sponsorship. There was dragster ones, there was a Batmobile one, there was all sorts of stuff, and they were all displayed at Telford. For next year, it's the big anniversary for the Golf GTI. So rather than just building a whole host of Golfs in various styles, we're doing whatever you want. So I'm doing one in particular. There's a few people doing custom car ones and all sorts of things. So yeah, it's going to be fun. There you
No,
go.
there we go. There we
If,
go.
if you're interested in joining in, have a word with Richard Middleton. He's at a lot of shows through the year.
Right, shall we rattle through? We've got more news items to go through here. So, Ian, you've got the schedule in front of you. What would you like me to talk about
Well,
next?
we've got two more Heller items. So let's do the road workers because they're quite cool. So following on from the trailer, which is again another thing, we have something completely interesting from Heller. Again, this is 24 scale, I believe. These are ubiquitous guys digging up the road, so you can't go very far in your 205 GTI because you're sat at some temporary traffic lights.
Mm-hmm.
Genius little thing. Interestingly, the trailer behind them is one of the ones that's already released. It's the one you showed me they showed the pictures of from Scalemates.
Mm-hmm.
So they are carrying on what we were just saying. They're doing a lineup of products that all intermesh. I don't think it'll be long before we see extra bits to this. I think it's a really clever idea. Although I don't know many road workers who look that cheerful.
I was just going to say, yeah. I mean, I've just gone onto the Heller website here. I was hoping to see if they've got any shots of actual plastic. But yeah, because these are all renders. But one would hope. Oh, we do have some plastic there.
Shot,
yeah. So one would hope that if these are renders, that the figures have been. Just going to see if we can zoom in. Yeah, I think we can actually. Let's just present, share screen.
Scotch light tape. Yeah, Dave. Yeah, that was quite interesting to replicate.
So I'm just having a zoom. Actually, yeah, I'm just looking at these. These, goodness me, these figures look superb.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in the market. I'm in the market for a set of these, I think.
The guy with the shovel. Yeah, that's a. Yeah. Although you do need a set of temporary roadworks and a little Jenny. Yeah, Portaloo to go with it all, don't you?
I'm sure if we have words with our mutual friend Mr. Manton, he'll 3D print us a Portaloo. So
yeah.
Right. Next, what's next on your schedule there, Mr. Harter?
So the next is the other Heller item. Now, many moons ago, Heller issued a kit of a Lancia Beta Monte Carlo Turbo. And they announced that it was coming back. What is interesting, and here it is, and it's due in the UK very, very shortly. Very shortly. Within the next couple of weeks, apparently. Or due out in the next couple of weeks. They're saying that they have extensively reworked this kit with new decals, new instructions, and revised parts and plastic. It will be very interesting to see what that actually entails. I do have access to an original, and so comparisons will be being made. But that's an interesting concept. What came out of that post on Facebook was a guy that asked them about their Alpine 210, which is a Le Mans racer from the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. And apparently that tooling was sold. Trying to find out where to at the minute. But there you go. That's a shame because that was a lovely kit. That was, you'll remember the Joe Bianchi, the F1 driver who was killed a few years back. I'll get this right now, Lucien, which I believe was his uncle, possibly his father, drove that. So it's an interesting set of things. But I would love to know where that A210 went. But the Monte Carlo Turbo, classic kit. If they've improved the glass, that in itself is a huge step. The wiper arms were always an abomination, but the rest of it, the basic shape was always there. So it'll be interesting to see. New wheels, new glass, and some improved detail parts, and I will not be disappointed. And if the decals are anything like as good as the ones in the Peugeot and that you've just been looking at, then we shall be very pleased. But there are some images floating around of the decal sheet, with the blued out bits that happens covering for the varnish areas, and it does look really, really nice. So, yeah,
That's a
it's a
terrific
fabulous
looking
car,
car, isn't it? It's
sorry, it's one of those cars that looks fast standing still.
yes. I was just going to say that actually. That is quite something. Right. Next, Mr. H. Next. Where are we going next?
We're going to Talk Workshop.
Oh,
Now, Talk Workshop have popped
talk
up.
about talk.
Oh, I know. Yeah, they've popped up on Facebook over the last couple of days with an announcement that they're about to come to market. There's a load of bits for the Tamiya 911 GT3 that you built last year. You naughty boy. And she got into trouble for that, I remember. And
Did I?
And then there's this. It was the one where the embargo day had been breached. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. No.
Oh, right, okay.
No.
You slept since then. This is a really important thing. The Tamiya Porsche Carrera GT kit is a lovely, lovely thing. Spoilt by those two covers in the kit, because in the kit they're molded in clear plastic. And they are shaped mesh covers on the real car. There was another image for this. I don't know if you managed to get it off.
Yep. There we go.
And that rear deck vent. And then there was one of them on the through. That there is a massive improvement for the kit. It actually makes, because I must admit, I've owned that kit a couple of times. And I've always looked at it and kept it and thought, look, I need a way around that before I'd even consider building it. There you go. And I'm told, now it would appear that they're from the Far East. I'm told that's retailing for under 20 quid as a set of that in itself is worth every penny, because that will turn that model from a nice model to a really nice model. Just with the addition of those three parts.
I'm just seeing if I can. I'm just seeing if I can zoom in on those. Zoom in on those images. No, I might have to bring them up separately because it's quite remarkable that mesh is 3D printed. I'm still trying to get my head around that.
I did the old fingers stretchy thing on the phone when it came up, and was swearing quite profusely in the living room, and my other half was like, "Yeah, you found something now, haven't you? It's expensive and it's going to cost money." Yeah, probably. Yeah, because on the basis of those, I think anything they issue, I'd probably have to get.
Yeah, I'm just bear with a moment, folks, because I'm just going to try and bring this back in again.
While you're doing that, the other thing they've announced, so they've announced some bits for the Tamiya GT3 kit, one of which is the cooling fan setup, which is in the front of the current GT3, and all the fans and the fan holders and the mounts and everything are separate 3D printed parts, and the finesse of it looks stunning.
Yeah,
absolutely stunning. But they are saying at the minute, and if you search Talk Workshop on Facebook, it will come up. Their website isn't live yet. They reckon it's a couple of weeks. Yeah, I'm already queuing up. So you're at the back of the queue. You're all behind me. Sorry.
I'm just going to see if I can bring that. See if I can bring in an enlargement of that. I don't think I can actually. I think what we're gonna have to do is that's all right. What we'll do is we will. I'm just seeing what image number that is, because it's worth. Bear with, folks, because it's worth. Me. Sorry, carry on, Ian.
A couple of people asking about the golf thing. Any golf. It doesn't have to be a Mark 1 or anything. You take any golf and do with it whatever you want. There was a Pope Mobile 2 CV in the last lot.
Here we go. Add to stage. Now, if I'm lucky, I should be able to zoom in. Am I zooming in? No, it's not. It's not doing it. Oh, that's annoying. Right. What we're going to do is we're going to do a screen grab, and then we're going to share the screen grab because image file. Here we go. Right. So that is 3D printed mesh
In 1/24th scale.
in 1/24th scale.
If you look carefully, they've got the right hex structure
Yep.
to it. Well,
I'm just seeing if I mean, every week when we feature something to do with 3D printing, my mind is constantly getting kind of blown away by the advances that we're seeing in the technology. I'm just doing another screen grab here.
I think it's the finesse that you can achieve.
Yeah.
Things that's the I mean, we've had this conversation time and time again. I'm not going to rush out myself and try and learn how to do it myself. And I've got a good friend, Richie Griffiths, who probably is watching tonight, knowing Richie, if he's not on a cruise. And he has only about his third printer. I believe he was given one at some point and went off and learned how to do it. And the skill set is just beyond me. And I commend everybody who does.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Look at that. That is 24 scale. That is amazing. Yeah, I don't know where. I'm lost for words, Ian. Lost for words. Anyway,
I mean, I'm pretty sure that anybody, and I know a few of the names on here, will have had or have built that Carrera kit, and everybody will probably say to me, yes, it is, Craig. It's absolutely cock on dimensionally, just so as you're aware. Anybody who's built that kit and experienced what Tamiya did with it is looking at that and going, why am I, where's that been all my life?
There we go. Craig says, not to downplay, well, it clearly is, not to downplay that, but is it representative of the hex size or is that prototypical?
Absolutely cock on the real thing. I've actually seen and touched the real thing, so I'm reasonably confident with what I'm saying there. It's a very rare car, but to have that component, and to be fair, even if it was 0.5 of a mil out on the sizes and everything, it's still an improvement on what Tamiya give you in that kit. For that,
it's the impression, isn't it? It's that whole thing with modeling is that sometimes things don't have to be strictly accurate. They just have to give the impression. They have to sell part of the story.
Well, it's like Revell did a McLaren, an orange, was it a 370 a couple of years back? I know they've just announced another one this week, and we'll come to that later, obviously. That had a similar issue in that the back deck area is open. It's a copper coloured open mesh area that you can see down into the engine bay from. They give you it in clear with a decal. Now, I'm not being funny, but I built that and it looked absolute garbage.
Yeah.
And I like to think I'm decent at doing things like that. And it came to be honest, it spoiled a decent model. There's a lot wrong with that kit from a buildability point of view. Whoever wrote the instructions hadn't spoken to the people who designed the tooling. It was one of them ones. But that just spoiled the whole thing because you just have this shiny, glossy glass bit with a mesh on it, with a sticker on it, and it just looked awful. If these guys then turn around and do what they've done for that Carrera, for that Revel kit, it'll turn that Revel kit into something that's worth building again. And I know that sounds a very harsh way of putting it, but if you want to get a replica of the car, a clear plastic thing with a decal on it isn't a replica of the car. There's a very short-lived, unfortunately, manufacturer called Plamo. They did a resin cast mesh for that Revel kit, and I ended up getting one of those, and it improved it, but it wasn't that good. It wasn't even close to that. So we shall see.
And finally, we're going to have our and finally moment at the moment. Well, this is MPC.
It is. The MPC are now part of the round 2 setup.
Yeah.
So round 2 are slowly reissuing what was MPC kits against AMT kits. They've got another couple of brands within their umbrella, which we all know about. Isn't that lovely? it's it's a vehicle of its era, shall we say that?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's quite cool. They've done a little bit to it as well, by all accounts. They've cleaned the tooling up and stuff. Comes with various bits, so you can build it stock, service, or emergency rescue.
Mm-hmm.
Whoop whoop! It's the police. SOC V8, bucket seats, rear bench. I don't know what a West Coast mirror is, I must admit. Tow bars, trailer hits, push bars, spotlights, warning lights, flashing lights, sirens, warning bars, antennae, off-road tires, you name it, it's in that box. And you know what? There'll be a shed load of plastic in that box, and it will represent great value.
I'm just going
What it
through
comes into the UK at.
Yeah, I'm just going through that iteration. Seems to have that iteration with that grill seems to be not well. Would you believe 1972? Gee whiz! If only there was a clue in that artwork there, Ian. Or no, but it was this kit was released around about 1972, so it was quite current.
Yeah, it's from there because the American car kit market, and we've covered this historically. It revolved around a thing called annuals. So as a car was released into market, a kit of it appeared and was usually available from the dealership. So, or there were pre-built ones in the dealership, and then the kit came out from AMT or Johan or SMS or not SMS. Or whoever, and Revel and MPC were involved in that. So, and there was always a battle between the kit manufacturers to who had which manufacturer's product. So in 1968, MPC took the Chevrolet contract from AMT, 1 year only. AMT had already done a load of work around the 68 car, so a load of them came out as annuals in AMT boxes, but they bore no resemblance to what was actually on the road. And then in 69, it all went back again. So there was this. These are the kind of things. So every year there would have been a version of that, which is why nowadays some kits from some of these manufacturers are quite sought after. So if there was a 71 Jeepster Commando and then there was a 72 Jeepster Commando, for instance, the manufacturer wouldn't do a completely new tooling. They'd alter the 71 tooling. If it was derived from the car, they'd alter the 71 tooling into a 72, which means that a 1971 box is actually quite sought after because you can only build, it was a 1 year only item. If they made a completely different vehicle in 73 and the manufacturer made a new tooling for 73, then the 72 kit can still be produced and is therefore of less value to the collector. So, for instance, is a 68 Camaro. Oh, I'll get that right. I think it's. I was looking at it earlier on. There's a 68 kit that then retooled into a 69. The 68 kit will fetch $300 to $400. The 69 kit's been reissued 15 times since 1969, so it's not as valuable. So these are the kind of trade-offs you see. But that's a fabulous little thing. Is that the custom option? Right. That's very MPC. MPC were definitely OTT with their custom options.
I like that. You can build it mild and wild.
Yeah.
But the original, according to ScaleMates, which is a very useful website, incidentally, the original Jeepster came out in 1968. So it appears through various iterations, like the actual car, the kit itself received upgrades and modifications. So, Ian, one thing I'm going to ask you is, what's the story between the eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed that this is 1/25th scale. So why do we have 1/24th and why do we have 1/25th? And frankly, is that scale difference noticeable?
Yes,
Oh, fighting talk.
it is. If you put two a 24th scale and a 25th scale model of the same car next to each other, you will see a size difference. The problem is if you think about going from 72nd to 76th, because there's less difference, the difference is less noticeable. The problem is when you get to the lower numbers, the difference is increased, and it does make a difference. 25th scale, you know what, I honestly, and I've never really personally got to the bottom of it within an argument that I am happy with. 24th scale comes out of Imperial. One of them comes out of Imperial and the other one comes out of some kind of semi-metric. But the American market is 1/25th.
Okay.
Yeah. It took a lot of. I came up with an explanation a few years ago, and later on was challenged on it and did a bit more research and was never happy with it. I think someone's referred to it when we did the Festival of Modelling, when I did the thing about old AMT kits. Hi Simon, thanks for that, mate. And I'm still not 100% happy with the explanations. It's just, the thing is, it's like 35th scale and 32nd scale. You know, Airfix did 32nd scale armor. Monogram did 32nd scale armor. Monogram did 24th scale car kits. Revel did 25th scale car kits. So strictly
speaking, 32nd scale was the traditional model soldier scale.
It was.
35th scale was some kind of Far Eastern upstart, and it was never going to last. And yeah, there we go. In fact, if I was to go back, far enough into some of my 1960s modeling magazines, there may even be reviews where the very first 35th scale kits were coming out, and the reviewer said something to the effect of, it's all very nice, but it's a pity it's not 32nd scale.
Yeah. So just dropped my pen, sorry.
All right.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, but it's an interesting subject, and one when I ever work it out, I'll probably write something down about it, I have to say. But if you're particularly bothered and you put a 24th and a 25th scale next to each other, then you're going to have the same car for it to make a difference. But the purists will only build 25th, and the other purists will only build 24th. All those, if you see that divide that's there, look. So everything that way is Revel and AMT, and everything that way is European and racing. These are all 24th scale. Though that line there, those are all 25th scale.
We're going to have to set a challenge whereby somebody builds two identical subjects, one in 24th scale, one in 25th scale, and then we photograph them side by side.
The only car you can properly do it with from a kit might be an E-Type. I have it in my head that someone did a 25th scale E-Type. I stand to be challenged on that. No problem.
Right. Any other business?
I've got a little toy.
Oh, go on.
Right. You know my addiction to AliExpress.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I have a Sotar airbrush, which Sotar 2020 brush, which is my absolute favorite thing in the world for spraying low volumes of paint and metallics and things like that. This is it here. And the problem with this is what's called a heritage model. So a bit like F18 heritage and modern. So that's the original. This is, if you buy a Sotar now, this is what you'll get.
Oh dear.
Sotar 2020 Slim. So no color, hot, those things. So the needles it comes with a very fine needle. That's mucky. Let's clean that. Very fine needle, and they are prone to getting damaged because that's the focus gone. That's the tip. Oh, come on.
There we go. Yeah, that's almost like that's like a professional spray head, isn't it?
It is. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I've ended up with 3 of these. When my friend Ian Crawford passed away, I ended up with his as well. So, sourced in from America. These were about £400 in the UK when I got this. At least 25, possibly 30 years ago. Well, I got these. You could buy them from a company called Bear Air in New York State for about $120. And a gentleman by the name of Stephen Eisenman, model dad. Those of you who remember Hyperscale will remember Stephen, and he is apparently still with us. Sourced 4 of these. One for me, one for Ian, and a couple of other people had them as well. So it's a fabulous piece of kit, but the needles are very prone to damage, and I only had one left that wasn't damaged, and I was looking for something to repair them. So whilst on AliExpress, I came upon this little thing, described as an airbrush needle repair kit and tool. So it comes with this, a couple of little sanding pads, a thing of polish that I'm not entirely sure why you're supposed to do it, and a cloth for cleaning, and a thing for holding a normal needle in. Obviously, with these, there's because of the way the Sotar is, they've got a ball on the end of them, but you can put the needle into this to hold it. That making sense?
Yep.
Yeah, like that, and then do it up and hold it. Okay, there we go. And then what you do is there's 2 holes, one in there and one in there, that line up, and there's a series of V's with some form of abrasive in them. And now this is a very fine, so I'm going to put it in. So you put it in there if you've done that up enough.
I can feel a purchase coming on. I got that sinking feeling.
Power, and it sits, and you can see that it sits down into the groove in there, and then you just turn it and you can feel the abrasive action actually happening. And if you've got a little bit of a twitch on you, a bit of a Bill Clinton going on, it will straighten it. And so when you pull it out, it is absolutely dead straight. I don't know if for some reason that's not focusing very well tonight. It's absolutely dead straight, and it's polished and cleaned the tip beautifully.
I have just gone on to Amazon and I have found something very similar: airbrush needle repairing and sharpening toolkit. Yada yada yada. Essentially, £19 post free.
Yeah, that's the one. I paid a tenner from AliExpress.
Okay.
But as a little piece of kit, it's a nice thing.
Well, there you go. I'm sold. Jen Wright has said, I fixed my custom micron needle with one of these at the weekend. Right. If it's
good enough for Jen and me, it's good enough for anybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. That's it. Sold.
Yeah, the Badger Velocity, Richard's saying, looks a lot like a Badger Velocity. Badger Velocity is a development, not as fine as the Sotar. The Sotar is the one that a lot of the art guys use for the fine work, when they're doing art airbrushing on stuff. And it's a beautiful thing. Clearly, I didn't clean that out properly, but I have to admit, I do mistreat my airbrushes.
Do you know what? Funny you say that, because the number of times that when I finish the session, and I will take the needle out, I will clean the needle, I will put thinner back into the airbrush, I will blast it through with thinner, and I think, right, that's good for next time. Come to next time, and I'll take the needle out, and that needle looks like I haven't cleaned it at all. Whether there's residual paint still in the body of the airbrush that runs down the needle.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Also, Ian, do you want to before we go? Do you want to tell people about your new cutting mat as well? Cutting mat envy.
Right. Look, okay. Oh, that one. So the green one that I've been using since I started doing the shows with John was beginning to look a little secondhand, because the problem is you forget to take it off the bench, don't you? And I just got on with modeling, and then stuff got spilt, and I wanted something a little bit more striking. And this Amazon purchase, it was a little bit more spendy than some. I'll give it that. It was about 22 quid. It's A2. It's by a brand called Elan. But the best bit about it are this. Obviously, black and white on this side. And Jonathan hasn't seen this yet. Oh, fully reversible in, can we call it taupe, or some kind of light tan and white. But very nice thing. It's got all my measurements. It's got my measurements on it. It's all in 1 centimeter squares. It's A2 size. And it was more. It's going to. But the problem is, it's getting into the habit of taking it off the bench between shows, so it doesn't get spoiled like the other one did.
Yep. Well, that's what I do with this one here. This this cutting mat here is purely for shows. Usually, if I'm doing some actual modelling, then I'll get the other one out, or I'll turn it over. But yeah, I do like your black cutting mat. So
can I just wrap a couple of comments up?
Go on.
I've seen that Peter Coglan's talking about the 1/2 inch to the foot, which I believe is where we get.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
24th. Goes on since it goes as 16th, 24th, 32nd, 48th, going to 72nd. That whole sequence is that's the same. But the 25th scale one, I don't know that I can confirm that's a decimal measurement. I know it's a decimal measurement in that it's 25%, but I can't confirm where it comes from. Talking about used by early Japanese model aircraft.
I know. See, this is the interesting thing is that early on, some Japanese kit companies, excuse me, were doing aircraft in 1/75th scale.
Heller did a 50th scale Gazelle.
Yes, they
well, still around at times.
1/50th scale was the popular European metric scale for, it was. Yeah, so 1/25th, 1/50th, 1/75th do make logical sense when you think about it.
So why then does an American part of the market adopt 25th scale, a metric system, so heavily to the detriment of the 1/2 inch to the foot, which is 24th, because it's 75 to 80% of the American car modeling market, because it was realistically only Monogram, and I've got a feeling possibly Pyro, but I don't know that they were even American to start with, who did 24th. So it's a very peculiar thing. The comment about someone talking about 7-inch long for the models, so they fitted in the boxes. That's a reasonable one, because obviously Revell and various other manufacturers did box size kits, which of course Atlantis are very happily reissuing for us in the minute in lovely Technicolor with new decals. I really like them, but I don't know if that's the way. I've never collected the annuals, the pre-assembled ones. My friend Terry Langridge, hi Terry, has quite a large, substantial collection of them, I believe, and they are, when you go to hold your horses, things like, let's grab one of these. Here we go. There you go. When you go to things like this, which is an original first edition AMT 1959 Ford T-Bird conversion, Ford T-Bird, which has seen better days, I'll give it that. Basically, what you got was this painted and built, and then they issued it as a kit. with an extra sprue of custom bits in it. And the sprue of custom bits, at least for 58 and 59, was always the same across all the boxes.
Mhm.
Fins and different vents and stuff. And you see a lot of them, and that was one of them, with every single bit stuck on. It's only like 1960, 61 when SMP came out with cars with customizing elements to them which were unique to them, and then AMT followed suit, that you start to see the customizing kit that we then got the 3-in-1s and the Stylines from.
Mm.
But that is 25th scale. Definitely 25th scale. If it was an Imperial one, surely that should be 24th scale. I can't work out, and I've had lots of conversations. There's a gentleman out there by the name of Dave Darby, and Dave is an absolute, the font on this kind of stuff. Yeah, don't work.
So Russell says all the dimensions of American vehicles would have been in feet and inches, but if you work in metric measurements, 1/25th would give a convenient conversion.
Well, surely 1/24th would. It's 2 foot to inch, isn't it?
On that bombshell. So I've gone a bit Alan Partridge there. On that bombshell.
Do you know what? I don't think we'll ever get to the bottom of it properly.
No, it's on that bombshell, literally. A big thank you to Ian. A big thank you to Ian for his company last weekend. It was good fun. Time just flew by, didn't it? It really did. And I am especially grateful to him for firing up and cementing my newfound love for occasionally building automotive subjects. So yeah, thank you, Ian. Yeah, we got to cross that bridge of painting this Ducati at some stage. But
I haven't got one. I believe Andy's got one for me. But I've got the road going version of that kit, and it's an absolute dream.
There is one here, because there's the one that I started photographing that I forgot to take to Telford. So Andy said we'll just build this one. So we'll get that one in the post.
He's got yeah, we'll sort something out with Andy.
Right. Fingers crossed. Next week, hopefully, I will be joined by Mr. Drew of Manton, so that we can have part 2 of our Telford debrief. But until then, a big thank you to everybody who's tuned in tonight. Goodness me, thank you so much for your patience as two middle-aged men wobble on about their favorite toys and things. But we hopefully will be back next weekend. So until then, as always, thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye for now.
Bye all.